They saw an opening in the market, a need that they could fulfill. They realized that they needed to make the product cheap. They needed to make it easily accessible. And they needed to make it interesting, something that the masses would want, something that would get the attention of the masses. And they succeeded. Oh, beyond their wildest imaginations, the product was the newspaper, or as it became known, the penny paper. The cost a penny, the equivalent of 36 cents today, still super cheap. And the content, this wasn't like the stuffy newspaper of the day. This was available for the everyman. It was easy to read. It had this interesting things called advertisements, right? And it would make you want to buy stuff. And it was written in such a way that we all could enjoy it. In fact, at times, some of the stories there were probably a little bit stretching the truth and things like that. Interesting things that we would want to read. But it was a huge success. The extra of the newsies in the cities grabbed people's attention. It was a great thing. Before we get a bit too judgy about this little freedom of storytelling that grabs our attention, we might want to remember that, this was just one of many other ways. There was radio with its own set of stories when it came, and families would gather around this thing and hear news and other things. At times, some of the stories told on the radio were so vivid and alive that some folks, they were real. And then came magazines with their glossy pages and their cool stories in them. And then came the television. Remember the 1980s televangelists with their flair for the dramatic? How about the late 90s with the chain emails? In some ways, the original clickbait. And before we get a little too judgy about that, I know we all did it. We all forwarded that really cheesy email to our best friend so that we could be blessed for 100 years. And in its latest iteration, TikTok, Facebook, Reels, stuff that gets our attention, stuff that seems a bit sensationalist, the human need to want to be attended to. We want to both pay attention to things and we want people to pay attention to us. As a writer that I read this week said, it's a deep human need to be recognized, to be seen. And yet our eyes wander. We get easily distracted. Some folks think it's because that primal need to be attentive to the world so that the saber-toothed tiger won't eat us. So we're constantly having to pay attention to so many things. And in the latest iteration, we're constantly being fed all this stuff, negativity winning over positivity, name-calling winning over dignity affirmation, all the stuff. It bothers us. It should. And yet, on a not-so-good day, we all like to sit in our televisions and binge really cheesy stuff, don't we? We all get caught in it. We all have trouble hearing the other voices. tuning our ears to it. We can get cynical even. We don't like all this negativity and name calling. We want something different. And yet there's another voice that we could tune our ears to. Last night, we had about 30 or so young people, 8th graders here for confirmation. They sat right over there in this first few pews, and part of what I said to them last night was that my hope was that this year together in confirmation helped them tune their ears to the voice of Jesus. That they could attend to that voice. That they could get their attention towards it. A voice that speaks to them about who they are. And a voice that helps them then deal with the noise that's all around. I told them last night that I hope that the stuff they did together, the learning about Jesus and their prayers together, the ways in which they met each other in community for a year and the service to the community, that somehow all that we did together somehow helped them get there together. Then yet, just at 9 o'clock today, we gathered here and we had young people who are graduating from high school in a few weeks. And I said to them that I hope that our ministry together did that for them. Somehow shaped their imaginations so they could tune out the things that were not life-giving, and that they could tune in to the voice of Jesus. They could attend to Jesus. They could be seen and recognized by Jesus. But this is not just for confirmands and high school graduates. All of us are in some ways caught in this web. We all needing to be attended to and needing to attend to something. That deep human need. We all caught up in the stuff that seems to make the headlines all the time. We all looking at the train wreck and thinking that that's the reality of realities. We all needing to tune our ears. And so we do this week to week. We gather here together. We sing songs of praise together, and we gather around each other together. We have coffee and cookies or muffins for Mom today. Always, it looks like so happenstance, so easy. But all of this seeks to tune our ears so that we can hear the voice of the shepherd. Oh, that's an alternative voice from the voices we hear all the time. Where these voices that are competing for our attention. By the way, they're trying to sell you something. In some ways, we're giving away too much information. But contrary to that commodification of our attention, contrary to that negativity and name-calling, contrary to that enemy-making and that constant suspicion of the other, contrary to that dignity violation and the onslaught of this stuff, that hopelessness and cynicism and despair, here comes the voice of Jesus. Sneaking in through our songs we sing and through the prayers we say. Sneaking in through the coffee and cookies and the sitting in a pew. Sneaking in as we gather together and hear a text once again. Here we are, by the power of the Spirit, we are tuning our ears. We're tuning our ears to hope. We are tuning our ears to possibility. We are tuning our ear to forgiveness. The voice of the shepherd reminding us of compassion. The voice of the shepherd reminding us of empathy. The voice of the shepherd reminding us to see the other as a sibling. The voice of the shepherd reminding us that we are better together. The voice of the shepherd calling our name and saying that we are beloved ones for who we are. are. The voice of the shepherd telling us that the bad days in the end will be defeated and a better day is in the future. The voice of the shepherd calling us to this life together, and together we can be love and forgiveness and possibility. The voice of the shepherd in the midst of the noise of life, in the midst of alternative voices. What are you hearing today? What's grabbing your attention? The shepherd is speaking. This shepherd sees you, right through you. You beloved one. Oh, in your pain and in your grief and in your right where you are in this shepherd, it calls your name where you are, wherever you are in this moment. This shepherd reminding you of who you are, truly are, beloved one of God. This shepherd calling you into this community together, reminding you that you are not alone. This shepherd's voice. Can't you hear it in this moment? People of God, from the beginning of time, humanity has had this need to be attended to and to attend, to be recognized. Let us tune our ears together in the midst of the noise. Let us refuse those narratives that are not reality. They are not reality. There is a higher and better and more true reality, the reality of a God who is loving the world, and we, God's own people, beloved ones of God, together in our weakness, together in our struggles, together in our trials and tribulations. That voice reminds us who we are, and then we together become the bearers of a message that others can attend to. This is the kind of clickbait I'm all about.